Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is listening and how we're often tempted not to listen to our inner guidance. And we're going to look at what's at play when that happens and how we can maybe give ourselves permission to listen to perhaps avoid calamity. Anyway, before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, your molecules, your electrons, creating a brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's rub our palms together vigorously, rub those hands together and feel the tickling, the tingling, all that energy, and allow all those wonderful sensations to bring you present right here, right now, into this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, listening. I had a conversation with a dear friend yesterday who called me because I think she called me because she would listen to me more than she would listen to the voice inside that was actually screaming for her attention. And to not make a certain decision or to not make a certain financial commitment that she was faced with making. And it struck me so deeply that that we will tend to listen to other people in certain situations. Anyway, we will tend to listen to other people more than we will listen to ourselves, and that that we have this knowing. We have a deep knowing, we have a deep knowledge that a feeling in our gut, a feeling of unease, a feeling of clenching or disruption, that if we pay attention, if we pay attention to these signals, they're not necessarily subtle. We talk about those quiet voices that want to give us guidance, but they're not always quiet. And I'm reminded of this is going to date me in a big way, but there was a TV series a long time ago called Lost in Space, and there was this family, the Robinson family, that was lost in space, and they had a robot that would sort of look out for them, and its warning alert was danger, Will Robinson, danger, Will Robinson. It had these robot arms that would go back and forth. And anyway, so I think that we get those messages. I think that those messages are available to us, and that we can unfortunately too often tend to ignore them, that we override our knowing. And I wanted to look at why that might be. And And I think it's because of what we could call an inconvenient truth. Sometimes that knowing is highlighting an awareness that we really don't want to be the case, where we want things the way we want things, and the reality of things doesn't always comply with the way we want things to be. So we want to, let's say we want to buy a house. We want to buy a particular house. Good morning, Bernadette. Thank you for the welcome back. It's great to be back with you. Great to have you here with us this morning. We're talking about listening. We're talking about what is it that tempts us to override our knowing, the voice inside that really knows what the deal is, and why we don't always listen. And so let's say there's a house we want to buy, and let's say we could even qualify for that mortgage, but the truth is that would be a big stretch, right? And part of us inside knows that this is not the greatest solution, right? And it's screaming, saying, please, no. It's saying, no, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. And yet, there's part of us that's trying to make the facts fit, trying to make this decision be something that is workable. And when we override that part of ourselves that's really trying desperately to protect us, then we pay huge consequences for it, huge consequences. And this shows up not just in things like, buying a house, but it shows up even in friendships or in business associations where we get a clear message about someone or something or a situation, and we want to ignore it because we want things to be a different way. And so this is just a really, really important dynamic for us to be looking at, to presence ourselves to the way that we do have checks and balances. We have checks and balances, and sometimes we choose to ignore them or override them, and often pay dearly for that choice. And then feel victimized or at the effect of the circumstances. But the truth is, if we can learn to listen, if we can learn to pay attention and listen when we get these warnings, then we can save ourselves a world of hurt and kind of stay on course, and not have to learn the hardest of lessons. Maybe it's not to say there aren't hard lessons, when you're faced with two choices, neither of which is what you would prefer. We're still often guided to at least the least bad choice. Can I say that? So I find it endlessly interesting, because I used to do this. I used to get messages, get clarity, or get that clenching in my stomach that would say, no, don't do this, or this isn't a great idea. And I would do it anyway. And then I would pay the price and, feel trapped in a situation that I had to muddle my way out of. And it wasn't pretty. in many cases. And I know I'm not the only one who's done that. So I don't know what it is that makes us finally have the willingness to pay attention. What is it? I'm wondering if you have some ideas about that. Like, is it the punishing nature of not listening that finally gets us to pay attention? I mean, I think that probably was the case for me. Not sometimes I'm not the quickest study, and I have been known to have a stubbornness of intention. And I think I'm going to tie it into some of our cultural mores too, because we're sort of schooled into the just do it mentality, or push through, and determination is going to get you to the other side. And in certain circumstances that may be the case. However, there are things that it's better to just say no, to know when to, I guess, I'm sorry, all these platitudes coming to mind, but the song, I don't even know what the title of the song is, but it's talking about playing poker, and Kenny Rogers' song, I guess. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. And I guess what I'm addressing here today is that we do know. If we're willing to pay attention, we do know, because we get these clues, we get these, for lack of a better word, intuitions. I think it's beyond intuition. I think it's truly a knowing. And I'm sure that those of you who have learned to pay attention probably have learned the hard way, like me, to listen, and that there is a time for prudence. I'm not talking about being driven by our fears, but I'm talking about the knowing that is a clarity. There's a clarity to it. It's not a knowing that it's not founded in weakness. It's founded in presence. And it's often, oh, Bernadette, that comment just showed. So Bernadette said, my comments don't appear to be showing, but just now that one did. So maybe try again, because I was wondering how come I haven't heard from you. So I'm really glad that at least that comment showed. And if you guys are writing comments and I'm not responding, please know that it's only because I don't see the comments. If I see them, I respond to them. So I'm not seeing anything other than what I've responded to so far. So there you go, Bernadette. Bernadette says, good morning, welcome back. I saw that first comment. Thank you. And it's great to be back with you. So we're talking about listening, and maybe the dynamics of this knowing that we sort of write off sometimes as intuition or a feeling. The thing is that our minds, our conscious minds, pick up but a very small fraction of the information that we're processing. So we're perceiving all kinds of things that we might not have any way to consciously identify. You know, we are sensing air pressure. We are sensing micro movements in somebody else as we're talking to someone. We're sensing, we're perceiving, although not necessarily consciously, micro changes in voice, in sound, in air pressure, in temperature, in all kinds of things that we don't even have names for. We are sensory organs, so to speak. So Bernadette says, sometimes we live above our means, leading us down a road we truly want, or leading us further away from it. Bernadette, I appreciate you saying that sometimes we live above our means. Exactly. And so, you know, we should have a whole other conversation about money. But let me come back to that. I just want to go into this conversation about we sense much more than our minds are consciously aware of, and yet we synthesize all this information, and then we get a response from our body and being based on lots of information that we're not consciously parsing. And that's what we call intuition. That's what we call a gut feeling. That's something that is picking up all these different inputs that we're not cognizant of. And so when we have that intuition, it's probably in many cases, it is much more richly informed than what we want to attribute to logic, or what we want to attribute to our powers of observation. And I think that we get to give credence to these experiences of awareness as they arise for us. And so now I'm going to bring the conversation back around to money. For this particular situation, there was a commitment on the offing that would be a commitment of many years that would be devastating, just devastating in terms of its impact. And I was so grateful that this friend had that voice loud enough that it made her reach out to me, because at least I didn't have the emotional involvement, and you know, the whole dynamic of wanting to have something that wasn't yet appropriate, for instance. Bernadette, you're so sweet. This is kind of a standard. Bernadette says, off topic, but love your choice of jewelry today. A lot of times you can't see what I'm wearing because the Zoom background goes out, but I love these earrings. They tend to show up here a lot, and I wear this necklace pretty much all the time. It's Moldavite. So Bernadette says, the beauty of having a difference of opinions. Yes, you can reflect. Well, see, the thing is that this person had exactly the same opinion that I did, but they didn't have the conviction. And they, you know, the part of them was feeling like this didn't feel good, but they thought that they should be making this decision, and they felt pressured to make this decision. But part of them was like, no, it feels terrible. It shouldn't feel this way. And so they needed the reinforcement of somebody else who cares for them to say, no, you're right. You know, listen to yourself. This isn't a good decision. Don't be pressured into making this decision. And I think when we talk about living within our means, this is something that I battled with for a really long time in my life, because I wanted what I wanted. I wanted what I wanted. And I spent a lot of money that I didn't need to spend, and for things that I thought I wanted, and then once I had them, they didn't matter so much. And I think that that's a really interesting dynamic, that the wanting and the having are very different things, right? I can say that the relation, Bernadette says, guilty of that also. I think so many of us are. I think we're really programmed to that in so many ways, to be, well, if you have this, it'll make you this, this, and this, or you'll feel this, this, and this when you have this thing, and then that thing is a thing that you may not even care about anymore. It reminds me of the little kids, like I carried it over from being a little kid where, you had to have that toy, and you get this brand new toy you get that you wanted so much, and you play with it for a little while, and then you want the next toy. And it's interesting. It's interesting how we do that. And maybe being, I'm not sure what it is that will make us be more present to that. So Bernadette says, I tend to now ask, do I want it or need it? And that's a great question. I think that's a great question. And I think that there's merit to giving ourselves something that we truly want also. So I'm wondering if so a lot of times we think we want something, but it's not what we really want. Again, here's another lyric. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Awesome. Bernadette says, if the answer is want, I ask why. Awesome. That's awesome. And I think that that's a brilliant thing to do, is this, like, what is it that will give me? What is it underlying that desire that I'm really looking to fulfill? And if you allow yourself to have something that you want because it actually gives you get joy from it, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And we don't just need to be accumulating things for the sake of accumulating them, right? And I remember there was a car I really, really, really wanted, and I overextended myself to get it. And that car turned out to be literally to be a lemon, like through the lemon law, it was a lemon. And it was not a great decision. And then there was another car that I really, really wanted, and it did not overextend me, and it was a practical choice. And I still love that car. I still have that car. 11 years later, I still have that car. And thankfully she's still running, knock on wood. And so, there are merits, I think, to allowing ourselves the gifts of things that we will truly, truly, truly enjoy, and versus acquiring. So Bernadette says, followed by, will I enjoy this for some time or just instant gratification? Yes, exactly. Great questions. And is it practical? Is it something that will serve me? And in what way will it serve me? And is it worth the sacrifice that I am making to, like, is it worth the exchange? That's another thing to be looking at. So Bernadette says, LOL, I still have my car 12 years later. Zippy has been a treasure. Yes, yes, my sweet car has also been a treasure. So anyway, listening. This is, listening and having that conversation with ourselves and being willing to receive the guidance, even if it means no for now. Even if it means don't make this choice for now. Even if we really want to make that choice, when we listen to our gut, we can save ourselves endless amounts of anguish and grief, I think. And Bernadette says, always trust your gut. Yeah, I've learned that. I've learned to do that. And it's served me well. It was hard lessons getting there, but yeah, trust your gut. And I think that's it for this morning. I want to thank you for being with us this morning. And Bernadette, thank you for your engagement, and everybody else who's listening and being willing to have these conversations, to think about these things. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live here each weekday morning on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and YouTube channel at 9 a.m. Eastern. And I encourage you to check out all the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, EWN, One with the Earth, Enlightened World Living. And until next time, so much love to you. Hope to see you again here really, really soon.